Hello and welcome to Let's Talk SEO. One of the hottest debates right now is whether or not Google has the ability to detect spam, and if so, how does Google go about detecting and eliminating spam from its search results? And it all starts at the content level on your site. Interestingly, Google uses not only spam brain, but there's also a Firefly site ranking signal. Now, Google doesn't really talk much about this. There's no mention about this, but there is quite a bit of mention of Firefly in Google's warehouse API leaks, and Firefly ties in with NSR, or normalized search rank, and Google spam brain. So it's a very interesting relationship, and if you're someone who runs a content-heavy site in particular, this is something you should be aware of and keep in mind when you're creating content, so that you avoid many of the common pitfalls associated with content creation, which I think most people are falling into, which is why either the website got deranked in March or they've lost rankings, traffic, whatever that might be the case. So in this video, we're going to examine how that works, how you can go about addressing the issue, and if you've been hit in March, and how to recover from that update. So this is a very interesting. Sit tight and let's get started. As mentioned in the introduction, we're going to examine Google's spam detection mechanism, and we're going to do that in light of Google's recent algorithm leak. I'm also going to, as always, put in my 2 cents over here based on my experience. We're going to start with examining two, APIs, if you want to call it that, since it was an API's warehouse leak. The first one is spam word score. So the spam word score is again a 7-bit. It's 7 bits that starts from 0 and goes right up to 127. Then we have the spam brain domain site chuck data. So the spam brain domain site chuck data is mainly a spam brain score, we assume. I will go into that a little bit later on in this video, in tandem with other parts of the algorithm to determine whether or not a page is spammy and how is it spammy in the grand context of the website. The spam word score, we assume, looks at specific types of words that are found to be scammy, or that the algorithm knows or has learned that these words are scammy. This is implication that Google is looking for a certain set of words which it deems to be spammy. And with the spam brain domain site chuck data, indicates that Google is using AI to identify spammy domains. So, and these are across all references. What's happening here is that Google is using a combination of specific words and AI to identify spammy domains. All right, then we have the normalized site rank, NSR. And if people have watched my series of videos on Google's algorithm, they would know that this normalized site rank, or NSR, is mentioned quite a few times within the algorithm. So there are a few parts to this: the host NSR, the site rank computed for host level site chunks. So how does it work, especially after the March core update? And this is a question that I had, especially in light of the algorithm leak. What I found was, and this is after having recovered quite a few sites that were hit in March, is that your site, I believe it is an evaluation of how your site performs to the industry sites. And so it's also mainly looking at Chrome interactions, which means that people using Google Chrome, because that's what Google can measure, interacting with your website. And so the more interactions you have on your website via Google Chrome, the better off your site will be. And one of the ways of doing that is you can drive traffic from Twitter, from Reddit, from Facebook. Google does not really care where your traffic comes from, as long as the source is not spammy or it's not low quality. And apparently, Google doesn't find these sources to be spammy or low quality. And so what we did as part of recovering a site from the March core update as of late was we created a series of posts on Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook. And we also ran advertising And what that did was it drove a great deal of traffic to the site that was penalized. But we also revised the content, so that's also a factor. But we drove traffic to that site, and we drove traffic to those specific pages that were hit the hardest, and there are specific pages on the site that are often going to be hit the hardest. And what we found was that over time, over the course of 3 months of doing this eventually started to bring the site back. And so we began to roll off the ads, and the organic rankings stuck for the most part. And it's that website that was hit is now doing very well. So people keep asking me, what the algorithm was about, and what types of sites were hit. This is now sort of an answer. It's not a complete answer because there are individual cases which requires an audit, which requires professional help. But this is by and large, what Google is looking at in terms of your NSR score, which matters. All right, so you've been watching this video and I hope you're getting a lot of value from it. I just wanted to add here that I offer SEO services, audits, and website SEO audit services in addition to regular SEO or monthly SEO as it's called. So you can visit cloudscodubai.com to hire me to audit your site. It's very affordable and very important at the same time. So unlike other SEO providers, I don't charge you thousands of dollars to do an audit. And my audit is not just, pointing out what's wrong with your site, but also giving you actionable steps. So if you want to do your own SEO, this is probably where you would want to start. Even if you have another company that's doing SEO for you, you want to have someone like me run an audit just to see or check if they're on the right track. The same goes for my topical mapping service. If you're looking to build authority, a topical map is the first place you'd want to start because you want to flesh out your content. You want to make sure that you're covering all the angles just so that Google sees you as an authority in the industry. And finally, my monthly SEO service, is self-explanatory. You can contact me directly via the website, or there's a link to a Google form that you can fill out and I will get in touch with you. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get back to the video. All right, so I made a mistake typing this. It's Firefly site ranking signals. So it's Ray site signal contains site signal information for Firefly ranking change. Now this is a very important signal based on the frequency of posting and how many people click on the new articles. But it's important to understand how it works. The important parts are number of URLs by period, so number of URLs sliced by 30 days. So how many new URLs were created on your site in the past 30 days. Site FB is the hash value of the site's total impressions. Add effectors, and this is really self-explanatory, it's part of the API. So it's daily clicks, it's daily good clicks, date, time, second, return, boosted time, second, impressions, and boosted period. Latest byline date section, latest first seen section, number of articles, 8, number of articles by period, number of gambling pages, and this is a gambling specific algorithm, I guess, and recent import for quota system. So what all of this means is that it's looking at how many pages you've published in the past 30 days, how many of those pages are receiving high quality clicks, how many of those clicks are staying for the longest period on your page, and whether or not those pages are spammy. And Firefly, by what I found, is a major ranking factor, something I've mentioned earlier, and it generally examines how users interact with a piece of content. So when you produce a new piece of content, which is over here, it's boosted by Google artificially for a period of let's say 30 days. It's between 25 and 30 days is what our testing shows. During this time, Google is measuring user interaction of that piece of content. After that has been measured, it will award that content a score. Now, if the interactions were highly positive, that score will be higher, is what we assume, because we don't know exactly how Google is scoring this. And if the interactions are not positive, the score is going to be lower. And so what Google trying to do here is it's trying to root out pieces of content and websites that use CTR or click-through manipulation, because a lot of this is really hard to fake on the site. Now, Granted that there are ways to fake this, and I might make a video about how to use CTR manipulation to rank, but Google is trying hard to defeat people who use CTR manipulation to rank pages. But it's important to keep in mind that, there are many pages that are spammy, that are still ranking, and they're using quite a few different methods. As a genuine site, you might not want to use those methods, and you might not want to risk using CTR, just for a temporary boost in your rankings, because at the end of the day, you're just an update away from being hit, and that update can be any time. We're expecting an update later in August, and so let's see what that update brings. But so far, if you're looking, and if you have a content-heavy site or an informational site, this is something that you should be keeping in mind, which will help you improve your rankings over time. So I hope you guys found the video useful. As always, like and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you have a question, and I will see you in the next video.